The marketing ethos at MKC is we treat every restock like we're relaunching the product, and we treat every product launch like we're relaunching the brand. So we looked at it and we're like, well, instead of just floating these knives on the website and letting flows and retargeting sell them, like, let's do restock drops. So we started adding Saturdays. So we've drops on Thursdays, we've drops on Saturdays, and then somehow these Tuesday apparel and accessory gear drops have turned into a weekly thing. Before it was just like once a month we'll launch a t-shirt. Now it's like every single Tuesday we have something really cool scheduled. Is it a pen? Is it a t-shirt? Is it a hat? Leather goods? Hardwood? Our week is getting filled full of these energy moments where we can almost turn our flows off and just only send campaigns because there's just so much new happening every single week.
This is the DTC Podcast. I'm Eric. I just had a recording snafu, but it doesn't matter. We're here with Brandon Horoho from Montana Knife Company. Been a huge part of my life since you came on the podcast just a year ago. We talked a lot about your incredible growth, growing to 8 figures in your first 3 years using the drop model, which is super exciting. We're going to get into how you've kind of continued to scale that. But first of all, also you've locked in your ticket and your flight for C-Suite in Victoria, British Columbia, our mastermind series happening September 18th to 19th. I can't wait to meet you in person, man.
Yeah, I'm stoked for this. As an in-house, CMO or marketer, I've been doing this for 15 years. I've always been in-house. I've never had a community of marketers to like talk to and bounce ideas off of. And honestly, the DTC podcast is like the main vein for me to like hear about new things and new software and new apps and all this stuff. So it's really cool to actually go somewhere and talk to people in person, especially up here in our little corner in Montana. As you can imagine, there's not a lot of direct to consumer marketers, up here in the mountains.
Yeah, well, you get to come to the coast, come to the island. We actually do have quite a little community here, and it's so nice to welcome people from all over North America, all over the world to Victoria, British Columbia for these couple of days. We really put our best foot forward, and I can't wait to show you around. And like I say, the people that we're involving, you're coming as a guest. You're one of our top podcasts. You're coming as a guest. The people that we have involved as mentors, and the people coming as guests. It's just going to be, I think, one of the best rooms that you'll find in e-commerce this year. So if you're listening out there, go to our website, check out the event spot, and join us. Now, catch us up on where we left off almost exactly a year ago from where we are today.
Yeah, so it's honestly crazy that it's been exactly a year because like one thing that's cool is just last week, we just beat last year's revenue, which is absolutely huge for us. So a lot has happened, obviously, because we're technically building 2 companies at one time. We're building an in-house manufacturing company, and then at the same time, we're also building this marketing D2C company that helps sell the products. So it's just been absolutely wild. The last podcast, we talked a lot about the drop model. And a lot of people use the drop model, and they build in scarcity as like a marketing tactic. But here at Montana Knife Company, that's actually just as many knives as we can make every week because we are making them downstairs. And, you could probably actually hear the hum of the CNC machines in the microphone every once in a while on this podcast. So the idea is like, how do you take the drop model that we see commonly in the fitness world and the apparel world and the sneaker world, but then apply that to like a traditional good, which is like a hunting knife. When we started the company, people thought we were crazy. We're like, I can't believe you're going to try to start a knife company. Like the people who are already in that space already own that space. And we were like, well, the problem is that the entire industry was racing to the bottom of the barrel, trying to make the cheapest knives as possible. We're going to try to make the best knives possible with the best business ethics and the best products, and like also too like with the best guarantee. Like we don't have a lifetime guarantee, we have a generations guarantee. That's what's kind of got us to this point. But on the marketing side, it's all about the idea of the term predictable success of like, what can we do every week to move the needle? And, and like, that's how we got into the drop model, and then like staying in the drop model phase instead of where most people go into like the wholesale and more omni-channel. Like we're trying to stay true to D2C as long as possible.
Very cool. So how are you bringing more, and how are you growing it? How are you growing that audience most effectively right now?
Growing the audience, that's our number one goal, is just top of funnel. We are so good at middle funnel and bottom funnel because we almost have a cult following, and like we love our customers. And like, so I think when I reached out to you like 2 months after our first podcast, I was like, I need to talk to you about this thing that we did. It's insane what we did, and it worked, and it just built a bigger following for us, a more like stronger following. Is that we launched our own VIP program. The idea was like, how do we create a VIP program where it's not just like, hey, spend to get this point and like gamifying it, but almost like we keep it completely secret. So what we did is we actually ran a report of all of our customers, and we broke them down into 9 different tiers. And, we don't tell our customers what the tiers are. So I don't want to go too far into detail because I don't want to give out the secret stuff coming out to some of our customers. But, it starts from spending anywhere between, $2,000 and $50,000 with us. So what we ended up doing is we ended up pulling that report, and at a certain level, we sent them a custom Zippo lighter just out of the blue. And then at a certain level, we sent them a knife engraved with MKC VIP. So just completely out of the blue, our customers just started receiving free knives in the mail.
Pure surprise and delight to your best customers.
Yeah, exactly. And it was really cool. Like, it definitely caused huge waves on the internet. Everyone started posting about it. And we ended up like some of our higher up tiers. I mean, we sent them everything from the first tier to the bottom tier if they were already in 9th tier. And then, we actually started to, some of the prizes were like full hunting backpacks, custom bows, custom rifles. And it was just really cool to see that. And then like anyone that was in our super high top tiers, Josh and I called personally, and it was just really cool to like talk to these guys and like say, hey, thank you for investing in our company over these past couple of years. They were just completely blown away. They're like, I've spent tons of money with other companies. I've never received a phone call. And the idea was like, instead of putting all this money and time into big box stores and taking people out to dinner, like, why aren't we doing that to our own customers? And that was a huge win for us in 2023.
And do people start reporting in your community like, hey, I got this when I hit this level, and other, it's sort of like the secret menu at In-N-Out in a way, right? Where it just sort of spreads on its own.
Yeah, 100%. So we have a Facebook group. It's called the MKC User Society. It's completely run by fans. Like we don't manipulate it in any way, but we watch it, and like that's what happened. Everyone started posting all the gifts that they got, and we sent them out from like the lowest tier to the highest tier, which is something we didn't realize was going to cause like a fuss, because these people were like, I know I spent money with you. Why didn't I get something? But we didn't tell anybody that we were sending anything. Or like, well, it just took some time for us to like send the stuff out, and it just built up more and more excitement as it rolled out.
And is it formalized now? Is it on the website? What you could get by certain levels, or is it still all under the surface?
It's still all under the surface. So there's so like the only thing that you can kind of tell where you're sitting is based off of your shipping label. So that's about it.
That's super interesting. It's like a video game when you play it and you get certain unlocks for certain moves that you do that you didn't realize or whatever. So it'd be interesting. You could even like, well, you bought this product, and this product. You're the Bushman so-and-so or whatever, right? Like you love this. Right. You bought a certain of this style or certain of this like furnishing or whatever. That's really interesting. So you got the surprise and delay part of it. Then do you see corresponding that their next AOV or their LTV is extended? What metric are you using to justify the outlay of cash or in product?
Yeah, I wish I had a really good way to do that. Like we've really dug into the analytics to try to figure out if it's actually doing something. If it's not, this is one of those things you kind of have to go off your gut feel and just like, I mean, we're doubling revenue this year, top line.
Yeah,
like,
it's working.
Our repeat customer is still insane. Like on drop nights, like we're still at like a 75 to 85% returning customer on drop nights. The average customer has anywhere between 2.5 and 3.5 knives. So like our return customer rate is just insane. And again, it's the whole idea was like, how can we do stuff different in the industry? How can we give back to our customers? And I think I ran the total. I think it was close to almost $200,000 worth of top line between knives and all the other gifts. It's like how much we gave back to our customers just this year.
The whole way you've built this business is pull, not push, right? You're not pushing, I like that you preface this conversation about how scarcity developed in your business, because right from the beginning, it's been this really authentic, like create this really great product that people want. You're not pushing people into anything. You're just kind of pulling them in more and more.
And that's honestly like our biggest thing is like, as we ramp up manufacturing, like we get to just kind of have more fun with our marketing and stuff like that. Cause like my goal is to just create as much energy as possible with the brand. The three biggest things is like our drop calendar, our collaborations, and then just like our gear and apparel. Like, how do we make those like as cool as possible and make that the thing to like throw, to email people about and text about instead of just, the constant sell. And that's another wild thing about our company is we're going on 4 years and we still haven't ran a sale on our knives yet.
Wow. On the accessories, have you, or is it just?
Definitely on accessories, because like our accessories to us is the accessories is another wild part of MKC. Like it's going to be probably anywhere between 15 and 25% of our top line is all of our gear, apparel, cutting boards, seasonings, pens, like all that stuff. So we definitely run sales on that because that to us is like almost a form of marketing too. So it's like we want to get our hats out, and we want to get our t-shirts out, and we want to get our hoodies and all the logo wear. So like we're really not trying to make giant margins on that because like honestly, at the end of the day, like we want our customers to wear it, and we're just super thankful that someone actually wants to buy an MKC hat at the end of the day.
So one of the things we've been talking about on the podcast all year is like true top of funnel. And it sounds like you guys you have this amazing machine for middle and bottom. Does the 25% of the new people that come to your drops, are they there through word of mouth essentially? Or how are you really focusing on bringing new people into this world to become these repeat buyers?
Yeah. So, word of mouth is a big one. That is usually always a top 3 on like our exit survey is word of mouth, which blows my mind because you typically don't see that a lot on exit surveys. And that's a really big one for us. We take a lot of pride in our reviews too, like follow-up email flows like, hey, we really want to hear about these knives. I think we're about to hit 15,000 5-star reviews, which is something I'm super proud of. Like that to me is really cool. But then our top of funnel this year, the biggest thing is we're focusing on collabs. So like what are the biggest brands and the biggest names that we can do projects with? These could be projects like, we did something with Nature's Metal, the Instagram page that just shows like crazy animal videos. And, they have a couple million followers. We did a t-shirt knife collab with them. We've done apparel collabs with like Dixon Flannel, and now we're doing like these bigger knife collabs, and we're dropping one this week, which is with the Bearded Butchers. And they're these two guys out of Ohio have huge followings, and they're just the best people. And it took us almost a year and a half to develop a knife because you have to design it and then you have to manufacture it. And these things don't happen overnight. So a lot of these things that we're doing right now that are affecting our top of funnel really, really strong are actually things we put into play about a year and a half ago.
I use your knife every day. How is the culinary expansion doing?
It's doing amazing. So like we had our first like $1 million day was with Culinary. It absolutely blows my mind how well our fans and customers are embracing the culinary world. And the idea for Montana Knife Company, our full evolution is like, we want to be first blood to last bite. So we have your hunting knife in the field, and we have the last bite on the dinner table. So, and we want every single knife for in between.
And culinary has to be a bigger market, I guess, right? Just because you're going to use it, you're going to go hunting at most 1 or 2 times a week kind of thing, whereas you're making dinner potentially every night.
And that's a whole nother like podcast we can talk about, is because like obviously culinary is massive because everyone has a kitchen. Everyone has some form of chef knife in their kitchen. If it's not something they got from the wedding registry or they just picked up at IKEA. But like versus the hunting industry, which people don't realize, like especially in America, only 2% of the country actually has a hunting tag. The hunting space is so weird because it's not like the military space where, you have veterans, you have active service duties, and you have people that are just generally trying to purchase things for like self-defense and prepping. And like, there's a lot of like adjacent industries to the military side. With hunting, there really isn't like a hunting enthusiast. There's hunting fans. It's either you're a hunter or you're not. So our population is about 2% of the United States.
So so culinary makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
What's going on TikTok? Have you done much with TikTok shops?
We haven't. Not at all.
Haven't touched it yet. Yeah.
Nothing. Yeah.
All through the website. Makes sense. And not Amazon too, right? No.
No Amazon yet. That's definitely in our plan. I think that's going to be one of the first channels that we turn on once we start building up enough supply to be able to send pallets to them. Obviously, like fulfilled by us doesn't make sense yet. The idea is like once we have a certain model that we can send to them and have them on the website at all time would be great.
And then how do meta ads support this process? Obviously, there's probably a lot in the middle and bottom of funnel to convert people and things like that. But describe your sort of marketing funnel on Meta?
Yeah, so Meta is wild. So for the first time ever, we got ads approved this January.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Restricted categories, of course.
Yeah. So, Facebook, Google, Meta, like everyone, they consider a hunting knife a weapon, especially here in the United States, it's absolutely crazy because no one's killing animals with their knives. They're no different than a chef knife. You're just literally just taking the meat off the bone versus cutting meat on a cutting board. So running ads has been like really, really hard for us, but we've been able to get around it through our apparel, accessories, and just general brand awareness where there's no knives in the ads, which obviously anyone who's run performance ads, like understand how hard it is already to run ads. And now I can't talk about the product that I want them to buy.
Yeah, but there always is. It's funny. I remember following Aaron Nosebitch, who's now built Breeze, the cannabis beverage brand or whatever. Yeah. And has been in that cannabis space for years and was really, really good at that sort of like 2 clicks removed marketing funnel where you can advertise one thing, but then 2 pages deep, you have another thing that is approved essentially.
Right. And it's been working really well. And I think it's also helping us grow our social channels too. So like, we're seeing a major uptick in Instagram and a major uptick in our Facebook pages and YouTube channels and stuff like that. So it might not be converting to a direct sell, but it's getting people into our funnel. And then once they're in our funnel, we're really good at closing them.
And then we may have talked about this before, but what is your top of funnel content strategy where people are discovering you on platforms like YouTube and Reels and such?
This is what I love this question because like I really don't have a good answer to this yet because we're still testing that a lot.
Yeah,
we actually started running TV commercials too.
Oh, sweet.
Through Atari. So it's actually something listen on the DTC podcast. So we started running commercials and we didn't realize how restricted the commercials are. Like it might even be more restrictive than actually Meta, which is wild because we tried running a knife ad on Fox News, but I guess there's too much violence in the actual content. They don't want to put any in the commercials. So, we shot a great commercial and, it only got approved for a couple channels. And this is a very, very PC commercial. It's more about being American made and hand built, but it just showed depictions of hunting and it just got denied everywhere. So, so we had to go back to the drawing board and we actually just finished our second commercial today, which is it has more of a Western vibe, more Yellowstone, more hardworking American. So hopefully like that one there gets approved and we're able to start seeing some of that top conversion. But to answer your question, like it's been really tough to kind of figure out how to do top of funnel when you can't talk about your product or show your product in certain ways.
It requires that you have built the business the way you have, the way that people are going to talk about it. It's product first. There's real scarcity. And I think collaborations is something we're talking about on the podcast all the time these days. What would you say has been, I guess you probably sell out most of your collaborations. So it's hard for you to say what has been the most successful, but which partnership has been the most successful for you in the last year or so?
The one, like some of the hunting knives that we've done with some of the most like hardcore niche dark beer hunters, like I like to say, like these are the guys that like the true gear junkies that people follow and like listen to them for like, hey, I'm going on a 14-day backpack hunt. Like what knife you taking? Like, so we did one with Aaron Snyder. That one like absolutely crushed. But I think we haven't sold it yet. This is Thursday, but just from the data that I'm seeing already for this Bearded Butcher one, I think this Bearded Butcher one is probably gonna be one of our best collabs. Just because of like how much effort they're putting into the brand, because they see the value and like how much energy they get to talk about this giant collaboration this week. And then also too on our end, we're building them up just as much as they're building us up. So it's like these collaborations are almost like a vacation from your daily grind. Like, hey, let's just talk about knives for 7 days straight. Just go hard as possible. And, it just kind of gives us a break from the monotony of our current like business.
Yeah. You mentioned Tatari. Are there any other platforms that you've kind of integrated over the past year that have turned out to be like a really integral part of your business?
Yeah. So I feel like I keep on D2C plugs, but we also integrated Black Crow.
Oh, cool.
Into our digital stack. And we're also we're actually using that at the same time as retention.com. So we're using both of them. And it's just been huge to help us just gather what are the little data that's left over that we can actually use for like retargeting and email and stuff like that.
Super interesting. I'm actually just about to release a podcast. I think it comes out tomorrow or on Wednesday with Trestle and Segments and this skincare brand called Soft Services. I think it's a pretty interesting one about how many segments you can create of your customers and how you can treat all these micro segments differently, essentially. And it really reminds me of what you're talking about understanding there's probably all these really interesting paths that people take through your products. Where you could use AI in different ways to really serve people, like really, I'm sure you're probably giving them really great recommendations through your retention right now, but maybe describe how you walk people or think about people on their product journey right now.
Before it was really hard because all we had was like hunting knives, and then we only had knives that were available. So I really never segmented because I was just like, I just want everyone to know about this knife that's coming out because it's the only knife we have available. Now that we have Culinary, we get to segment people into Culinary. And we also, in July, we launched Tactical for the first time. And that was a huge success for us. So now we have military/tactical, we have Culinary, we have Hunt. Now we get to kind of break those people up into those three segments and then follow up with the additional knives and the accessories and everything, that goes along with each of those journeys. But the nice thing is that they almost kind of like feed each other because they're all very related to each other too at the same time.
Any other initiatives you have planned coming up that you're psyched about testing?
The big thing is like continuing to like look at our week and just pack as much energy as possible into our week because, obviously we have our drops every Thursday night. We're starting to have knives in stock, but the problem is that our demand is catching up so fast that they're not staying on the website long enough. So what we've started to do is we started to have a drop Thursday night, and then we started like playing around with like for those in-stock knives, instead of just floating them on the website and not saying anything about it, because like the marketing ethos at MKC is we treat every restock like we're relaunching the product, and we treat every product launch like we're relaunching the brand. Like that's how much energy we put into everything that we do. So, we looked at it and we're like, well, instead of just floating these knives on the website and letting flows and retargeting kind of sell them, like let's do restock drops. So we started adding Saturdays. So we've drops on Thursdays, we've drops on Saturdays. And then somehow these Tuesday apparel and accessory gear drops have turned into a weekly thing. Before it was just like once a month, we'll launch a t-shirt. Now it's like every single Tuesday, we have something really cool scheduled. Is it a pen? Is it a t-shirt? Is it a hat? Is it, leather goods, hardwood? Our week is getting very like filled full of these energy moments where we can almost turn our flows off and just only send campaigns because there's just so much new happening every single week.
And that's the nature of the business as you've built it. It reminds me of South Park. I watched the documentary on like how South Park is made, and every week they're launching every episode as if it's a whole new show. It is a whole new show every single week. Must be fun. What does your team look like at this point? How big is Montana Knife Company at this point?
So Montana Knife Company altogether is around 60 employees. Okay. But that's from the manufacturing up to the execs. Right now, our marketing team is 7 people total. So there's me, the CMO. We have a digital stack director. We have a marketing manager, 2 content creators, full-time content creators, brand relations, and then like our customer experience rep who handles like our VIP program. We're still really lean for I like to think for how much content we're putting out every single week and what goes into every single drop.
Are you using AI much at all? You guys are, USA made. How much AI are you using?
I wish there was more applications to use it than I wish we could find more ways to use it, but right now we're not using it enough. Let's put it that way.
Got it. You're coming to C-Suite in Victoria. You also mentioned me a little while ago, like if you ever want to do a travel one, you got to come to Montana. So where would you recommend for a future like getaway mastermind? Where would you recommend that we do it in Montana?
Oh man, if it's in the winter or even if it's in the summer, like you can't go wrong with like the Whitefish area. You got lakes, you got mountains, you got skiing. You're right outside of Glacier National Park. There's a bunch of really cool areas downtown, and like there are a lot of new tech companies that are coming into that valley too. So I think that'd be the perfect spot if we're going to pick somewhere in Montana.
Yeah, I want to get there for sure. I don't want to put you on the spot exactly, but you've looked at our speakers with Nick Shackelford and Andrew Wilkinson. We've got Brock Memoser from Frost Buddy coming out. Is there anyone on who you saw involved that really piqued your interest that you're excited to network with?
It's honestly a mix of like everybody, because as we're going through this conversation, like, hey, how's TikTok doing? I'm like, we're not on TikTok. Like, how's this? I was like, we're not doing it. There's so many things that we're not doing right now. Like we're barely doing YouTube properly. There's so much that we're doing really, really well. But then at the other side, like there's still so much we can do. So I'm just looking forward to like seeing how everyone does something different, because it's insane. Like I forgot what company I was talking to, but I was like, everything that's working in your business is stuff that we're not doing. And everything that's working in our business is stuff that you're not doing. But we're both at the same trajectory. They're both having the same type of growth. And it's just like, I can't wait to kind of like talk to people and just see what's working inside of their business that we're not doing that could work for our model.
100%. That's why we built these amazing businesses. So excited to have you out on the coast here in Victoria. Man, this is going to be so much fun. I'm glad we could put this together and look forward to catching up more in person in September.
Yeah, no, it's going to be a blast.
And straight up, I love that trucker cap. So if you want to send another care package, we'll get. I have a bunch of brands jockeying for my headspace right now. So
I love it. I love it.
Thanks, brother. This is a lot of fun. Thanks so much for listening to today's episode. If you're not a subscriber to our newsletter, you can do that right now at directtoconsumer.co. I'm Eric Dick, and this has been the D2C Podcast. We'll see you next time.